Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification if you want to be notified what is going on. Terence Bud Crawford versus Israil Madrimov. I mean, decent fight. Really good fight. It was a shaky victory for Terence Bud Crawford. A lot of people weren't feeling that victory. It was very shaky. You could say Madrimov won. You could say Terence Bud Crawford won. But the real scorecard should have been a draw. If we're being 100% honest, it should have been a draw. It was it was a shaky first time testing the waters at 154 pounds, and I think that Terence Bud Crawford has said it best in the past. There are weight classes for a reason. There's no need to fight fight go up and fight. And obviously he thought that the 154 would probably be his last destination. After seeing him tonight, going up to 168 pounds would be suicide for a guy like Terence Bud Crawford. That's literally committing, you know, taking your own, you catch the drift. I don't feel like Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is a good fighter. He was putting in work, but this guy was 10-0 with 7 KOs. And he kept getting hit with that right hand. That straight right was just catching him all night. You know, Israil Madrimov came out. He was real jittery, had that good upper movement, good head movement, was putting in good work. You know, in the beginning, he was showing out. You know what I'm saying? He was putting in good work, just catching Bud Crawford with that straight right. I mean, you see Bud Crawford's tongue out. You know what I'm saying? And this is a guy in Israil Madrimov who only has 10 fights professionally. Now, a lot of people are saying that Terence Crawford is number one pound for pound, that he's the man, he's the guy. And tonight, he just disappointed a lot of people. I think that now people will possibly realize that going up to 168 pounds would literally be taking your own life. It just would not make sense to do. It's not it's not something that his body will be able to upkeep with a guy like Canelo Alvarez. I think that Turkey Al um, I don't think that he's the brightest if he wants to really put on such a performance, because you're literally putting a fighter in danger of getting Amir Khan out there. You know what I'm saying? You're putting that fighter in harm's way, But Terence Crawford, obviously got the job done. I think that it was more of a I already knew what the school what they were gonna say. You know what I mean? I already knew that they were gonna give the fight to Terence Crawford. Majmadov, a 10-0 fighter. He needed a lot to be able to win tonight. You know what I'm saying? Not just the fancy footwork that he had, the head movement, um, the power shots, the landing, landing more than Terence Crawford, or close to Terence Crawford, but landing at a better rate. You know what I'm saying? None of that mattered. When you fight a guy like Terence Crawford, you're gonna have to knock him down, knock him out. Because the judges will see it a different type of way. It wouldn't really matter. But Terence Crawford definitely had good shots in there. Nothing that surprised Madrimov. The power, I don't know, is up in the air. Could it possibly have not translated, going up to 154 pounds? It is his first fight at 154 pounds. So you also have to have that understanding. But Madrimov is only 10-0. Well, 10-1 now, right? 10-1. You know, We knew he was a big puncher because he had 7 KOs out of 10 fights. But yo, Terence Crawford had his tongue out a lot in that fight. And when you got your tongue out, bro, we already know what you expressing. It was too much. 154 pounds is too much for Terence Crawford. Now, could he beat guys at 154? I think that he does give a lot of those guys go. I think that he fought a very good Uzbek. You know what I'm saying? Uzbekistanian. He fought a very strong dude. Somebody who has a lot of skill and was making you pay. He was literally tricking Terence Crawford with all of his feints. Terence Crawford didn't know where to place that hand. And he didn't switch it at all. He didn't switch it. And we've seen it in the past. Terence Crawford is a switch hitter. But we didn't see any of those tactics today. He stayed disciplined, stayed in that southpaw position, stayed patient. I thought Madrimov, he came out very patient as well. I thought that he was very, very patient. He was just pushing the pace, but I felt like Terence Crawford had the better jab game. He was jabbing very good. But when you talk about effective aggression, that's very hard to telling because both fighters were being very effective with their offense. Even when they were very patient, it was more of a chess match in that point. The fans were kind of booing, but it is what it is. These guys wanted to fill each other out. When you're high level, high skill, and very intelligent, you definitely want to fill your opponent out. You don't just want to go in there like a brawler, you know what I mean? Just go in there and start throwing haymakers because eventually you're gonna tire out and the other guy is just gonna stick with his game plan and eventually either get you out of there or win the fight. But Majmedov stayed very patient, um, and so did Terence Crawford, and I think that that's what made for a better fight because it was like a chess match in there, and that made for a better fight. Um, it was a good fight. I can't complain. Congratulations to Terence Crawford on his victory and becoming a champion at 154 pounds, winning that WBA title. That's a huge accomplishment. Um, I thought it was a draw. That's how I scored it. I thought that was a clear draw. I don't think that Majmadov did that much more to get a victory over that much more to get a victory, but I think that he he was putting in very good work and was making Terence Crawford look like a normal human being. He wasn't um he was making Terence Crawford look very normal. Not the pound for pound guy that everybody's raving about, that the skills and this and that. I think that, to be honest, if we're being truthfully honest, I think that he was very has to be very grateful taking home those belts or being that champion, because if I'm being 100% honest, that fight was a draw at best. That was a very back and forth fight, very tough, very, very tough rounds in there. And I don't believe there was a winner. I just don't. That's the type of fight where you look at it and you could be like, okay, this is very back and forth action. You got one guy that's landing at a better percentage than the other guys. Um, than the other guy, and he's throwing way less and he's landing about the same as this guy, you know what I mean? And then you look at that, and then you look at the ring generalship, the effective aggression, and you look at all of those things, and you could place those things on both fighters, because it was that kind of back and forth action. Patience. These guys were very patient. Their defense was pretty much there, even though Terence Crawford's defense was kind of wasn't there, because he kept getting hit with that straight right. It was moments in the fight where he did overcome that at times, where he would I believe like what was it, the eighth round, seventh round, when they started saying that he's starting to figure out Machmadov. But if we're being 100% honest, he didn't figure him out for shit. You know what I'm saying? He didn't figure nothing out. This dude was just came in there very jittery, uh a lot of upper body movement and throwing a lot of feints, and that was throwing Terence Crawford off of his game. This is not the Terence Crawford we've seen in the past. This was a different Terence Crawford. You know, one thing I do like about Terence Crawford was the combinations that he was putting together. You know, and they were both throwing very good shots. The body work that he was doing, those are the things that I kind of took key notice about Terence Crawford's work. Were the body shots, you know, going to Madridov's body and, and and really trying to set something up for that, right? Obviously it didn't work out, but it is what it is, you know. It still shows that you're still very patient, you're still very disciplined, you're sticking to your game plan, you know, and very well tonight probably wasn't gonna be a night that I felt like Terence Crawford won, but who am I to say? It's hard to time Majrandov. He was very awkward, very very awkward fighter, very awkward fighter, very jittery, uh, impeccable body movement, like upper body movement. It just kept you guessing every single time. You didn't know where this guy was coming from. You didn't know when he was gonna throw. You didn't know anything because this dude wasn't even throwing the jabs out there. I think that if he would have had a very good jab game, he would have won that fight easily. Even though he was the guy with the shorter arms, you know, it was gonna be tough to jab. But if you throw the jab out there, it will get accounted for. As far as yeah, it might not land, but it'll keep a guy like Terence Crawford at bay. Not saying that Terence Crawford needed to be at bay because he was at bay a lot of the times. You got to see him. Majmedov as well. There was times in the fight, in the beginning of the fight, where I would be like, dog, you can't win a fight not throwing your hands. You have to be able to throw those hands. You know, you can't win a fight like that. You know, and he wasn't throwing nothing. And all the first round, second round, I believe that Terence Crawford was just jabbing the whole time. There was no power punch in like the first 3 rounds, I believe. Right? But again, great fight. I mean, can you really be mad? No. At Terence Crawford, no. His performance wasn't the best, you know, but again, he's getting acclimated to the weight. It's his first fight at 154 pounds. How much could you blame him? Then there's the other side of me that's saying, well, this guy was 10-0 with 7 KOs, and a lot of people feel like you're the number one pound for pound guy, and you didn't show up, and you were getting hit with fucking with right hands out the ass. You know what I'm saying? You was getting hit with all the right hands that Madridov could find. You know what I mean? It was crazy to me. You know, and then you see the fatigue in Terence Crawford, the getting hit and then sticking out his tongue. You know, these are things that this dude was getting hurt. He was getting hurt. And Majmedov, I mean, those Uzbeks don't even show any type of sign of wear and tear, bro. For some reason, I don't know what it is, bro. I don't know what water they're drinking out there, bro. But that shit is filled with high jitters and a lot of upper body movement and very good footwork. For a 10-0 fighter, I mean, we're a 10-1 fighter now. I'm impressed with Majrandov. I think that with time he will get better. You know what I'm saying? I think that obviously he took this fight a little too early. He was only 10-0 at the time. Um, and I think that he probably possibly took that fight way too early. They're talking about a Virgil Ortiz fight, and I think that might actually be the fight that they're possibly gonna make. Oscar De La Hoya was in there with Turkey Al-Ashi. Turkey Al-Ashi wants to make big fights, you know, and they saying that they sent an offer to Canelo Alvarez, but like I said, if you send an offer to Canelo Alvarez, send a coffin to Terence Crawford. You know what I mean? So like, when you send the offer to Canelo, send the coffin that same very day, next day air, and send it to Terence Crawford, bro. Because what I saw today was he's gonna have a lot of trouble with that power, because if a guy like Masvidal, a 154 pounder, was giving you trouble, and Masvidal was, it was countering, but Canelo Alvarez is gonna counter you. You know what I mean? And you're gonna be fighting at the pace of Canelo Alvarez, not at the pace of Terence Crawford. After the fight, they asked him, "Why would you want to fight Canelo Alvarez?" He said, "I mean, obviously the money, dog. These guys, I mean, who's not gonna risk their life? You know what I'm saying, for the bag? You know what I mean? Like, think about that shit. You know, motherfuckers be broke as shit at home, doing nothing, you know what I'm saying? And I'd rather go in there, motherfucking try, possibly get a victory. Who knows? But I'm still gonna get a hefty bag even if I lose. You know what I'm saying? He had 300 amateur fights, bro. Bro, 300 amateur fights is very, very good. I mean, I get it. Not everybody's Lomachenko though, bro. He was on a good trajectory. I understand 300 amateur fights. That's amazing, bro. But he doesn't have professional experience. You know what I mean? And he didn't have the professional experience, the professional experience that Terence Crawford had. And I think that that's what really, it doesn't matter if he had 300 amateur fights, because I'm sure that Terence Crawford's had probably over 500 fights. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he might have had 300 amateur fights, but Bud probably had like 500 fucking fights in his whole life. You know what I mean? Bud Crawford, WBA super welterweight champion of the universe. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Um, but like I'm saying, man, I think that tonight's fight should have been a draw. That's exactly how I scored it. I thought that it was just, there were rounds in there. Maybe you could give one to Majmadov, or maybe you could give one to Terence Crawford, and it was gonna be very hard for Majmadov to be able to beat Terence Crawford, and he couldn't get the job done, unfortunately. But a guy that did get the job done was the man of the hour, Rayo Valenzuela. That's the man of the hour right now. That's the guy, the most intriguing man on earth. How did he beat and overcome a pit bull? You know what I'm saying? He stayed disciplined, stuck to the game plan, listened to his coaches, and got the job done. Bent down on that mouthpiece and got the job done. Left hook lazy says, I had it 9-3 Crawford. Sure you did. Sure you did. That shit was a draw at best. At best. There was nothing to be like, oh yeah, Crawford is dominating this fight. He didn't dominate shit, bro. He was getting hit with every straight right that I've ever seen in my life, bro. This dude could not avoid that shot. You know what I'm saying? He didn't switch hit. You see, that's the Terence Crawford thing in every fight. Just he'd probably get knocked the fuck out because every shot was gonna start landing. Friendly. So he stayed in that southpaw stance, and he tried, but it was just, you gotta give credit to the judges, man. Give credit to the judges because these people, the judges are just like, it's just they see things. You know what I mean? They see these things, but I enjoyed the fight, dog. I enjoyed the fight. Very good fights tonight, man. Turkey Allah, she did his thing. They put on a great performance out there in California, man. You had the Eminem show. You know what I'm saying? Play some new music out of his album, Garbage. But the old shit obviously go, man. And it was that one opportunity, man. And congratulations to Terence Crawford, man, becoming the champion at 154. Majrandov was starting starting Wilt in the 11th and 12th. I could see he was close to taking a knee a few times. It was a good fight. Brother, what fucking fight were you watching, bro? That dude was fucking strong headed as shit. He wasn't dropping on a knee for nothing. That dude got hit with two uppercuts in that 12th round and didn't even phase him, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. Those two uppercuts didn't even phase him, and he got caught not even looking. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, dog? Like, Terence Crawford had the worst night of his life tonight, bro. Because usually we see Terence Crawford, he hasn't been 12 rounds since 2016, bro. That's very telling. It's very telling. 154 pounds is going to be a lot for Terence Crawford. Go up to 168. You know what I'm saying? Go up to 168 and see what the fuck the real deal shit is up there. See what the power looking like up there. Let's see if you can really take it. Because if you got your tongue out against a 154 pounder, imagine what a 168 pounder is going to be. What's going to do to Terence Crawford? I think that that's a bad mistake. There's weight classes for a reason. You know what I'm saying? The greediness, though, the greediness will kill you. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and we out, man. Peace.